Please clarify specifically, have you taken a cognitive test?
No, I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying you, before you got in this program, if you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say to President Trump?
A never-ending joy to my family and me. So it's your help that I seek first. As today, I announce my candidacy for President of the United States of America.
Biden seemed to be claiming Kinnock's vision and life as his own.
Why is it that my wife is sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Gladys the first woman in her family, in 1,000 generations, to be able to get to university?
My ancestors who worked in the coal mines in northeast Pennsylvania don't come up after 12 hours and play football.
8 hours underground, and then come up and play football.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
There was no platform upon which they could stand.
The notion that every thought or notion or idea you'd have to go back and find and attribute to someone, I think is, quite frankly, ludicrous.
The problem here is that Senator Biden told his audience he'd just been thinking about these things, and he failed to give any credit at all.
Cannot measure the health of our children,
the health of our children,
the quality of our education,
the quality of their education,
the joy of their play,
or the joy of their play.
Biden gave Kennedy no credit. He has also quoted or paraphrased John Kennedy, Hubert Humphrey, and British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock, all without credit. He quoted 5 pages of someone else's work without proper citation.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
He was given an F.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been dumb.
My class, and then decided I wanted to stay, went back to law school, and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I won the international moot court competition. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only need 123 credits, and I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
He said the first 100 days, he's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
The largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking. Oh, gigantic.
How are you going to keep it from us being able to be in a position where you can manipulate the machines, manipulate the records? The one way to do that is, I think we should pass a federal law mandating that the same machines with paper trails be mandatory for every federal election. That will be a multi-billion-dollar bill for the states, because the states will have to make a choice then.
We live in an area that's wooded and somewhat secluded. I said, Jill, if there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony here, or walk out, put that double-barrel shotgun and fire 2 blasts outside the house. I promise you, who's ever coming in is not gonna, you don't need an AR-15. It's harder to aim, it's harder to use, and in fact, you don't need 30 rounds to protect yourself. Buy a shotgun. Buy a shotgun.
You are actively trying to diminish our Second Amendment right and take away our guns.
You're full of shit.
All right, thank you.
No, shush. Shush. I support the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment, just like right now, if you yell fire, that's not free speech. Hey, all the kids, you want to come up here and listen? Come on up here. Come up behind me. Because I'm not holding up between them and the pool, man. I learned a lot. And I learned that it makes a difference. This was the diving board area, and I was one of the guards, and they weren't allowed to, it was a 3-meter board. If you fell off sideways, you landed on the darn cement over there. Sir, you, off the board, or I'll come up and drag you off. Well, he came off, and he said, I'll meet you outside. My car, these were all public housing behind it. My car, there was a gate out here. And I said, what am I going to do? He said, come down here in the basement where mechanics where all the pool filter is. You know the chain, there used to be a chain that went across the deep end. And they had, those days, you used to remember the straight race, you'd bang them on the curb, get them rusty, put them in a rain barrel, get them rusty. When I tell you get off the board, you get off the board, and I'll kick you out again, but I shouldn't have called you, Esther Williams. I apologize for that. I apologize, but I didn't know that apology was going to work. He said, you apologize to me? I said, I apologize for that, not for throwing you out, but I apologize for what I said. He said, okay, closed the straight razor, and my heart began to beat again. Good evening. I give you my word. I accept this nomination. I will be an American president. Are you ready? There's never been anything we've been able to accomplish. I had the great honor of being arrested with our UN ambassador on the streets of Soweto trying to get to see him on Robben Island. I came back from South Africa trying to see Nelson Mandela and getting arrested for trying to see him on Robben Island. He was in prison.
But when I said arrested, I meant I was not able to move. Cops, Afrikaners would not let me go with them, made me stay where I was. I guess I wasn't arrested, I was stopped. I was not able to move where I wanted to go.
And I had a nurse nurses at Walter Reed Hospital who would bend down and whisper in my ear and go home and get me pillows. They would make sure they'd actually, probably nothing ever taught in, you can't do it in the COVID time, but they'd actually breathe in my nostrils to make me move, to get me moving. So ladies and gentlemen, the good news is, for me, I'm here. The bad news for you is, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. And I want to see these beautiful young ladies. I want to see them dancing when they're 4 years older, too. So it's great to see you. So thank you. I have a great family, and I had an income as a U.S. Senator. But I thought of all those people that I know who had to make a choice. Do they eat or take care of by keeping their job? Or do they take care of their child or take care of their elderly parent? And so there's a lot of things we can do and we can easily afford to do. This is about a face. You may remember I got in trouble when we were running against the senator who was a Mormon, the governor, okay? And I took him on. No one's face to be questioned. But I tell you what, deal. The kinds of investment that will stimulate. All I can say to the American people is watch me. You see what I've done. You see what I'm going to do. Look at me. Compare our physical and mental acuity. I'm happy to have that comparison. Well, first of all, the reason they should vote is that there's a lot on the ballot this year. I mean, this is the most consequential, not because I'm running, but because who I'm running against. This is the most consequential election in a long time. And the character of the country, in my view, is literally on the ballot. What kind of country we're going to be. 4 more years of George, is going to find ourselves.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. Please come back in less than 13 years, sir.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Chris, but anyway.
Chris. I just did Chris. No, I just did Chuck. Understanding what you may hear about me, I have incredibly good judgment. 1, I married Jill. And 2, I appointed Johnson to the Academy. I just want you to know that. Just clap for that, you stupid bastard.
Yes, and by the way, what you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man. I extended the voting rights 25 years. If we didn't know this is happening, and somebody made a movie about this 5 years ago, you'd think it was all crazy. But it's real. It's real what's happening.
Now I'm happy to take questions you may have. I guess staff's going to call on whoever. Fire away. Who in God's name knows what it's all about? I just don't know. I don't know, and I'm not going to speculate. I'll let the experts do that.
Thank you, President-elect. What do you see as the biggest threat to your transition right now, given President Trump's unprecedented attempt to obstruct and delay a smooth transfer of power?
More people may die.
I'll do what he's unable to do. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
But all kidding aside, it's a matter of the thing. We are simpatico on our philosophy of government and simpatico on how we want to approach these issues that we're facing. And so I don't have, and when we disagree, it'll be just like, so far it's been just like when Barack and I did. It's in private. She'll say, I think we should do A, B, C, or D. And I'll say, I like A, don't like B and C. And let's go, okay. Like I told Barack, if I reach something where there's a fundamental disagreement we have based on a moral principle, I'll develop some disease and say I have to resign.
And it's all going to be done. I'm running as a proud Democrat for the Senate. So vote! Vote! Which way am I going?
Freeze deportations for the first 100 days. And only people will be deported are people who committed a felony while here. That's number one. Okay, I lost that.
Yeah, well, but that's good because we could talk, you and I, on that.
Okay,
but it's
think about it. Janet Yellen. Again, Janet, thanks for accepting. Appreciate it. I think they're going to clean this off for us here. No, I put it in my book. Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
The officer's not being charged in her death.
I have not seen the report. I was told going in that there is one charge against one of the officers. I don't know the details. I'm going to try to find that out on the plane, and I'll comment for you. But I feel my heart goes out to her mother, and I understand there's a protest they're starting, or they're going to start, and I just want to. Pardon me?
They're expected tonight.
Well, they should be peaceful. I don't know the details, so I'm reluctant to comment on. I really don't. I haven't had a chance to get briefed. I get asked by the local press the same question. I don't know enough to know what to comment on. I don't know the details.
That's why I've made it a priority my entire career to work closely with you. From the time I got to the Senate 180 years ago, as well as my tenure as vice president. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Kingswood Community Center. Actually, that's the one down I used to work. It's a joke. You know where we were. Anyway. We can, with the help of God, heal. And if we do, and I'm sure we can proclaim the promised. We can proclaim the promised with the psalmist who wrote these following words. The Lord is my strength and my shield, and with my song I give thanks to him. This is a guy who, let you park your cars where I come from and right here in Greensboro, and
park your cars at their parking in their country club and never let you join.
The Trump administration has attacked the rights of transgender people. How will you, as president, reverse this dangerous and discriminatory agenda and ensure that the lives and rights of LGBTQ people are protected under U.S. law?
I will flat out just change the law. Eliminate those executive orders, number one. Big swimming pool complex. And these two men, well-dressed, leaned up and hugged one another and kissed one another. And I'm getting out of the car at the light, and I turned to my dad. My dad looked at me and said, Joey, it's simple. They love each other. The idea that an 8-year-old child or a 10-year-old child decides, you know, I decided I want to be transgender. That's what I think I'd like to be. It'll make my life a lot easier. Everywhere I've been hearing all around the country. You're trying your best, but it never feels like enough.
He was looking really good in Pittsburgh yesterday at a rally.
He was. I'll be honest. I was surprised how well he did.
Let's take a look.
Why attack Sanders? Why? You're getting nervous, man. And you want to check my shape on? Let's do push-ups together, man. Let's run.
You said I set up my son to work in an oil company. Isn't that what you said? Get your words straight, Jack.
That's what I hear on MSNBC.
You don't hear that in MSNBC. You did not hear that. But you heard. Look, okay, I'm not going to get in an argument with you, man. Well, yeah, you do, but look, Fat, look, here's the deal.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. All men and women created by you know the thing. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. It's not a conflict of interest. There's been no indication of any conflict of interest from Ukraine or anywhere else. Period. I'm not gonna respond to that. Let's focus on the problem. Focus on this man, what he's doing that no president has ever done. No president. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. That has caused carnage on our streets. 150 million people have been killed since 2007 when Bernie voted to exempt the gun manufacturers from liability.
The court said you don't have executive authority to do that on our own, and we did that in 1976, and it was struck. 2000. Backing up here. 2014 when we did it, and they struck it down.
If you agree with me, go to Joe 30330 and help me in this fight. Thank you very much. And you're the ones that sent Barack Obama the presidency, and I have a simple proposition here. I'm here to ask you for your help. Where I come from, you don't get far unless you ask. My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Look me over. If you like what you see, help out. If not, vote for the other guy. Give me a look, though, okay? That's all I've really got to say to you. I'm about...
A pathway for 11 million citizens. If the other guy had voted for the iron workers, the steel workers...
Never direct the Justice Department as to who they should or should not indict, and under what circumstance they should or should not. That is an independent judgment to be made. My son, my deceased son, was the Attorney General of the United States, and before that, he was a federal prosecutor in one of the largest offices in the country, in Philadelphia. And I tell you what, he wouldn't even talk to me about anything he was doing. His father. And he shouldn't have. And I didn't have any control over either one of those things. But
Gene Robinson, it's hopeful